precise, causative factor among these has not been identified yet. Is that a fair statement? Senator Chairman Schapiro and then Chairman Gensler.
It is a fair statement. It's been 2 weeks. Our staffs have been working around the clock, but there's an extraordinary amount of data that we have to plow through, and we're disadvantaged, quite honestly, on the equity side by the fact that we have so many different trading venues. We do not have a consolidated audit trail, which is why the Commission will be voting on that next week to create one for the first time. But we had to get audit trail data from the options exchanges, from the NASDAQ, from the New York Stock Exchange. Other markets like BATS and ISE and NYSE ARCA don't even keep full audit information. They just have simple books and records requirements. We had 19 billion shares traded that day and 66 million different trades. 17 million of them alone were between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock. So the enormous amount of data coming from multiple sources in different formats, captured in different ways, is creating an enormous amount of work for us. Our technology, I think, as you know, Senator, is not great. It's fallen behind over the years, and our capacity to even handle the terabytes of data that we're getting slows us to a halt sometimes while our systems kind of catch up and allow us to continue our work. So I will say that I think the staff's doing an extraordinary job. We need to get them the technology resources. We're actually looking at bringing in a third-party firm to help us crunch the numbers. But over the longer run, this agency has got to have the capability to process this kind of information quickly and effectively so we can reconstruct markets and understand exactly where our problems are.
Chairman Gensler?
Though there's enormous work yet to be done, I might lean into this a little bit more than my staff would want, but I think the combination of events, the economic news that was coming out of Europe, and by the middle of the day, there was definitely a lot of uncertainty in the market. There was additional uncertainty that was coming from market signals. Sometimes market signals are fundamentals, like jobs data, or in this case, what was going on in Europe. Sometimes the trading data, and we saw a lot of trading data in treasuries, in currency markets that were higher uncertainty, and even when the New York Stock Exchange started to have some of these securities go into slow mode or the self-help modes. All that market data brings you to about 230 on that day, and the market's down 2 to 3%. And at that point, our review, because we have been able to look in the futures markets, we with CFTC, and for all the reasons Chairman Schapiro said, we still have a lot more work to look into the cross-linkages of the securities to futures. But in the futures market, we saw liquidity dislocations, where really sell orders were far outstripping buy orders in the critical minutes into the V, the downward drift. In the midst of that, some liquidity providers that don't have an obligation to be in that marketplace did start to limit their participation in the critical minutes before 2:45. In addition, we did have one sizable sell order in the midst of that. Put in an automated execution system. And through an automated execution system, through a little pop-down window, we've even sent staff to look at the pop-down windows, is able to put in, limit my participation to about 9% because I thought it wouldn't have a market impact. Well, on this day, that might have been a different feature, so in some of those critical moments. So those are some of the factors that we've looked at. We still have to prove out some of the theories. There's a lot of cross-linkages that we're going to study together.